What happens when the teacher who crushed your dreams is forced to work for you? The classroom buzzed with quiet whispers as final exam results were handed back. For most students, it was just another grade. But for David Johnson, a bright black teenager who had worked tirelessly, it meant everything. He dreamed of going to college on a scholarship, and this test was his ticket. When his paper landed on his desk, his heart sank. A giant red F was scrawled across the top. His hands trembled as he flipped through the exam, realizing something strange: most of his answers were correct. "Excuse me, Mrs. Parker," David said carefully, raising his hand. "I think there's been a mistake. I checked my answers. Is it right?" The teacher, a stern-faced woman with narrowed eyes, smirked coldly. "No mistake. You failed. Maybe you should stop aiming so high and start being realistic." The class went silent. A few students snickered. Others looked away awkwardly. David's cheeks burned with shame, but "I studied all night," David whispered, his voice breaking. "I need this grade for my scholarship." Mrs. Parker leaned closer, her voice dripping with disdain. "Students like you should stop dreaming about big universities. Maybe community colleges more your level." The words cut deeper than the failing grade. Laughter erupted from a few in the back row. David wanted to sink into the floor. He gathered his paper, fighting back tears. He knew it wasn't just about the exam, it was about her. She had always treated him differently, doubted him, looked for reasons to tear him down. And now, with one stroke of her red pen, she had shattered his future. But what Mrs. Parker didn't know was that this failure wasn't the end of David's story. It was the beginning of a fire that would push him to prove her wrong. As David walked out of the classroom that day, humiliated and broken, a single thought echoed in his mind. One day, I'll come back, and you'll remember this moment. The boy she failed became the man she could never ignore. Years passed. David's dream of a scholarship had been stolen, but his determination had only grown stronger. While his classmates went off to college, he worked 2 jobs, studied at night, poured every ounce of his energy into learning business and finance on his own. By the time he was in his 20s, David had started a small tutoring center. What began in his mother's living room quickly expanded into multiple locations across the city. His methods were different. He focused on giving every student the chance he never had, no matter their background. Parents trusted him. Students adored him. Investors noticed him. And within a decade, David's company had become one of the most successful private education networks in the country. His net worth soared into the millions, and with every milestone, he remembered the face of the teacher who once told him he wasn't good enough. One morning, his assistant placed a file on his desk. "Mr. Johnson, the old Westbrook High School is finally up for sale. It could be the perfect headquarters for your foundation." David froze, staring at the name. Westbrook High, the same school where Mrs. Parker had failed him all those years ago. A slow smile spread across his face. "Buy it," he said simply. Weeks later, the deal was complete. David Johnson was now the owner of the very school where he had once been humiliated. On his first visit back, he walked the same halls he had once trudged down in shame. Students now stopped to whisper, and many recognized him from the news. The millionaire education mogul who was transforming schools. But the most shocking moment was yet to come. As David stepped into the main office, he came face to face with a woman whose eyes went wide with disbelief. Mrs. Parker. Her once sharp voice faltered. "David, is that really you?" David adjusted his tailored suit, his presence commanding the room. "It's Mr. Johnson now," he replied calmly, "and I believe you still work here. Don't you?" Her lips parted, but no words came. The very student she had mocked, failed, and dismissed was now standing before her as the man who owned the building she taught in. And this time it was her turn to feel small. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply proving them wrong. The staff gathered in the auditorium. Word had spread. The new owner of Westbrook High was coming to speak. Teachers whispered nervously. Students filled the seats with excitement. Nobody expected what they were about to see. David Johnson walked to the stage, his presence commanding silence. He looked out at the crowd, the same school that had once broken him. "I used to sit in these very classrooms," he began, his voice steady. "I was told I wasn't good enough. that my dreams were too big, that students like me should lower their expectations. A murmur rippled through the room. Teachers glanced at each other uneasily. Some knew exactly who he was talking about. David's eyes locked on Mrs. Parker in the front row. She shifted uncomfortably under his gaze. "But I want every student here to listen closely," David continued, raising his voice. "Don't ever let anyone's opinion of you define your future. You are more than a grade. You are more than someone's bias. You have greatness inside you whether they see it or not." The students erupted in applause. Phones came out, capturing every moment. Mrs. Parker sat frozen, her face pale. Then David's tone changed, calm but firm. "Mrs. Parker," he said, calling her out by name. The room fell silent instantly. "He once told me I wasn't fit for university, that I should stop dreaming so big. He gave me an F I didn't earn, and almost cost me my future." Gasps filled the auditorium. All eyes turned to her. David took a deep breath. "But here's the truth. That failure didn't stop me. It fueled me. And today, I stand before you as the man who owns this school, the man who will make sure no student here is ever treated the way I was." The applause thundered, students cheering his name. David looked at Mrs. Parker one last time. She was trembling, humiliated before everyone. But instead of anger, his voice softened. "I won't fire you. That would be too easy. Instead, you'll keep teaching here under the policies I set. From now on, every student will get fairness, opportunity, and respect. The lesson you failed to teach me, make sure this school teaches forever." The crowd roared. David stepped down from the stage, his head high. For him, revenge wasn't about destroying her. It was about showing her and the world that no one could hold him back. And as he walked through the halls one last time, a single truth echoed louder than ever: success is the sweetest payback.